Hello, internet people. New day, new bike ride. Starting off from the climbing gym today. Gonna make my way up to this intersection here with Cutler Avenue. They recently redid this road, repaved it, did some restructuring of the parking on the side. I used to always bike in the road. There was a pretty big shoulder and I could easily be on the side, but they added these designated parking spots to the side of the road. And now, if I'm biking, if I'm on the shoulder farther away from cars, I've got to periodically cut back into traffic. So, usually when I'm going slow up this hill, which is a little hard to appreciate that it's a hill in the video, but it's a hill, I'll go on the sidewalk. It's hardly used, and it has a lot of benefits over the exposure that I feel like I get when I'm in the street. Coming up at the traffic light, though, I'll hop back onto the road. Um, Not the worst thing in the world, but this was a bike lane or a biking road that I used to use. Oh, hey, there goes my friend. But now it's not as useful, and that's a shame. It's more useful, I suppose, for the people who are trying to park, and parking is an issue for a number of the businesses there. Um, but it just goes back to kind of the problem, which is you can't really get away from driving cars and trying to attract people. It's just really space inefficient, and so they're having to cram in more parking, and it creates all sorts of issues. I'm on this road now, Washington. One thing that kind of stands out to me is this is one of the great ways to cross over highway I-40 here, and you can see the median. One lane going each way, and then a big median strip in the middle, and a little itty bitty strip on the side for the bike lane. I don't know why we have this big old median. I think there's a lot of potential here for improvement in the future. I'm not sure exactly who within the city to speak to about trying to terraform this, road diet, whatever you want to call it, but I think improvements can be made here to really encourage people to see the value in this overpass for biking and walking and connecting a couple different neighborhoods and really giving people on bikes and people who are walking another obvious option for how to cross over the highway, because all the other ways in this part of town are worse, and this one can be made even better. So what's going on at this intersection? I always get this light. Can't really run it. What a pain in the butt. Not the worst thing in the world. But here in the bike lane, got to look out for a number of things. People often turn right in front of you. The ones who are in the car lane just to my side. Um, Cars running reds. All sorts of common issues. It is interesting to see they made an attempt here with brick in the crosswalk. They're trying to encourage a zone that looks different for where people walk. But I don't really think that accomplishes very much. If you're a pedestrian and you're trying to walk, the cars, they don't really slow down or notice that they're entering in your zone, much like the rest of most every city and Albuquerque as well. If you're a pedestrian and you go on that crosswalk, you're in the car's way, and you got to be making sure that you're looking around. There's no reinforcement from the road design that forces the car to slow down there, not raised or anything like that. But the bricks are, a feeble attempt, which show that there's intent, just not very effective. Bike lane here gets a shoulder where cars could park, but they never do because, I don't know, they're worried about getting hit. So I guess I'm less worried than the car owners about my body. So I'll go over here, get a little bit of extra buffer from the cars, see how fast I'm going based on this little radar sign. That was definitely me going 28 miles per hour. No, usually I'm a slowpoke. I'll go downhill, maybe 14, 15 miles per hour unless I'm actually trying. But I don't try that hard when I'm biking around. I like as you can see, taking the scenery, go through the nice neighborhoods. These wide open streets in the neighborhood, I'm sure they can be used and at times are used for speeding cars, but what I find is that as the markers go away in the street, the feeling of safety that car drivers have to go fast and to understand where they are the dominant species really diminishes. And when you have more guesswork because there's less delineation, uh, it's an interesting effect that it has on the flow of traffic. People seem to go slower. In addition, it's just a neighborhood, and so, and in general, not a neighborhood that connects. It's not used as a shortcut in many cases. This is a very nice neighborhood as well, so I don't know. I think the people driving in here are generally neighbors, and they don't want to antagonize their other neighbors. I think I tried to make it up this hill without touching my handlebars. Didn't go super well, so at some point I grab them and start to speed up. These horizontal cracks in the asphalt, I don't feel them that much in this neighborhood, but they do show up in the video. So I'll be experimenting with different different mounts going forward, so that some of this jostling can be controlled a little bit better. But hopefully this video is not too puke intense, too pukey in terms of the effect it might have on you. Coming up to another intersection with Constitution. Generally, this one's pretty quiet. And yes, awesome. Slide on across. Another pretty nice neighborhood. Not quite as nice as the one I was previously in, but I think it's certainly a lot of value. People have respect in their homes and invest a lot. Some interesting landscaping choices. Still, nobody really out and about. It's decently hot, but not crazy. A few worker trucks. As you can see, though, the neighborhoods are just empty. You might say, well, it's a weekday. It's 1 p.m. Of course it's empty. But look at all these cars. People are there. People are home. Look at that car. Look at that station wagon. Where's that person? So there's just not a lot of, as in many neighborhoods, there's not a lot of places to walk to within the neighborhood. Here, there's a nice little Italian deli on the edge of town, and there are a few other things, but you just don't see a whole lot of walking. This neighborhood in particular, despite many privately well-maintained lawns or gardens and landscaping, there's no park. I don't think there's any public park. So there's not even that kind of a meeting spot. Just residents, and depending on where you are in the neighborhood, it could take you 15 minutes if you're able-bodied to walk to the closest commercial outlet. So what am I doing? I'm navigating my way south, eventually towards Lomas Boulevard. Got to cross over that. I'm just taking in the scenery, trying to figure out. Not trying to figure out anything, just looking around, admiring the fact that, man, this neighborhood is pretty nice, but also just feels empty. But I'm a broken record in that regard. Coming up here, we'll go past, I forget what they call it. It's like Tiny Christmas Village or something like that. Every time around Christmas on this street, one of the houses really goes all out, and they put up a huge display for Christmas that you can walk through. Cars line up. It's off there to the right. You can almost walk into their garage. They have quite the scene. They really put a lot of effort into it. It's interesting. This intersection, gotta watch out for it. People sometimes use it as a pass-through between two major arterials. I made it through, back into the apartment side of this neighborhood. These apartments, once again, I said in another video, they look pretty nice from the outside. Hopefully one of these days I'll run into somebody who lives there and get the inside scoop. Coming up towards my favorite intersection over Lomas, and am I gonna make the light? No. Bummer. Alright, off to the sidewalk, trying not to slip on the little loose sand on the ground. And then you gotta get right up to the edge when you're on your bicycle to be able to hit that button. to cross, and the little sensors in the ground, I've tried it. They won't pick it up if you're on a bike, so you can just stand there and watch cars for 10 minutes and not really ever get a green light. So I hit the button and then just watch with interest, who's driving how in Albuquerque. It seems like a, dare I say, pretty tame day so far. Make sure no one's going to turn to the right behind me. Wow, yeah, nobody ran that red. Nor did I. So, across the way, I'll take a different path. I'm going to sneak into this shopping center and make my way over back towards my neighborhood. Oh, Jazzercise. Well, my class isn't until tomorrow, so not stopping there. Dollar General, staple of the neighborhood. Some kind of news store that says they have a sale every day. Cool. Clark's Pet Emporium. I like that place. Always fun to go in there and see all the little animals. Man, the birds are loud. That's what gets me every time I'm in there. Different places that I've seen. Probably in Breaking Bad. Sprouts across the street. The requisite dispensary on every single corner. Crazy. We've got some senior living. That's that tall building with a corner. Never been inside of there, but who knows? Maybe I'll walk in and see if they would just want people to come hang out from time to time. meet some seniors, make friends. Back in this little area, this stop is always gets me a little nervous. I think one of the things that gets me nervous about this is so many cars are parked along the side that it can be hard to distinguish at a quick glance which cars are moving and which cars are parked. And so I always have a little extra caution there. Nonetheless, I made it this time. And I forget how I crossed San Mateo. Apparently I went this way. Down we go. Still looking for pedestrians or, walkers, people, signs of life. Oh, there's one person. Found one. Cool. I don't know how long this little trek was. I think it's like 2 miles from my house to the gym. So not very long, but it just goes to show you don't see that many people on foot. I can count on one hand probably the number of people I saw, maybe excluding handymen and utility workers on one hand. Anyhow, getting over, coming up to San Mateo, got to figure out what's my plan of attack this time. I'm a fan of hopping up onto this sidewalk and then cutting over so that I can get into the turn lane. I have definitely come to the conclusion that this gives me the most chances to cut across. So I made it halfway across before there was a bunch of traffic. There's some construction, which makes it a little hard to see oncoming traffic, but I don't have to wait for too long. And I try not to be too risky, but I also want to make sure that I do not stay in that turn lane for any longer than needed. Well, quick little trip, so hopefully I'll have fewer ums in the next one. Goodbye. In the neighborhood, and that stop sign means stop recording, don't figure out where I live.